The Forgotten Minotaur King. Side Story. The Journey of Kind. Part 1. Apprentice, warrior, mayor, minotaur. These are words that describe kind Lyman. Born in a traveling caravan to Fam and Lemieux, a few years before their capture and imprisonment by King Mindus. However, these events are now decades past. Currently, Kind finds himself as the leader of the kingdom that had enslaved him in his youth. In the absence of the Minotaur King that had been his master and trainer, he settled down with a house in the city, not to rule from the castle in the distance, or annex the title of king in his friend and superior's abdication. He made a good life for himself, found a lovely partner, and was sitting about returning the kingdom of Goldenrod to its former luster. However, when word of an old enemy soon to return to the kingdom reached his ear, he knew he must follow in the true Minotaur King's hoofprints and bequeath a quest onto himself to save the city and its people. The old enemy, the Rakshasas Empire, was set to make their move, potentially from the port city adjacent to his own, and rumors on the wind said they would come with not only their own usually prodigious might, but with the aid from another kingdom they had married into, one with considerable magic and might of their own, the Pagus family of Wolfkeep. Fortifying defense and assuring the guardsmen were prepared for any incursion in the absence of Kind, he left the kingdom and his love, who, unbeknownst to him, was with child, to find a method of stopping the Rakshasas for good this time. Kind traveled by woolly rhino, a species not native to the field and swampy terrain of Goldenrod, but imported due to being the only mount suitable for a minotaur's size, trekking night and day until he arrived in the dusty yet colorful land of Alazan. When searching for potential martial forces willing to aid him, he heard word of a tournament. He believed there was no better place to find hardened warriors. Upon entering, he found himself amongst a swath of unsavory killers, minions of countless crime syndicates, and disgraced knights. However, not a one would heed his offer, but he would see what they thought after he defeated them in the ring. The first opponent he found himself up against was an Usagi-Hito knight of some sort. He had never encountered this tall, rabbit-like race before. She had dark brown fur from her long, forward-pointed ears to her powerful, reverse-jointed legs, clad in white, almost porcelain-looking armor, complete with bright magenta pauldrons that protected her shoulders and neck. The armor was crested with a large yellow moon that had a purple pupilled eye in the center. She announced herself as a knight of Tsukio, which led to uproarious cheers from a particular section of the audience, one filled with similarly clad female knights, some elves, some human, and even a single merfolk among them. Above their heads, they waved flags with the same moon and eye symbol. When the bout began, she unsheathed a large lance and began to charge. With his pair of one-handed hammer and sword, Kind took the charge full on and blocked most of the damage. With a follow-up blow, he managed to disarm the knight of her lance. She responded by leaping to an ungodly height in the air, and somehow manifested a second lance, this one seemingly made of light energy. She then dove down for Kind at an unimaginable speed, this time taking a piercing blow that nearly severed his shoulder. He managed to remember a tried and true tactic from his master Krunturg, grabbing the Usagi Hito by the massive shoulder pauldrons. Just as she was positioned directly above him, he headbutted her with his massive horns. Kind fell on his backside, but she fell floppy ears first into the dirt, unconscious. With jeers and boos from the Sugio Knight section of the bleachers, he was declared the winner. After the fight, as his wounds were being patched, as well as the knight was being tended to, he offered his apologies. However, the Usagi Hito, named Senshi Katai, scolded him that there was no need for apologies. Seeing the politeness of the warrior, Kind used this opportunity to request her and her sisters aid in the defense of his country. With a heavy sigh, Senshi informed him that the knights had only stopped in this town so Senshi could attempt to advance from novice to actual sister in the Holy Army of Sugio. However, her loss in the first round wouldn't sit well, and the other sisters were likely in a rush to return to their home kingdom of Kintsugi. But she would put in a good word for Kind. Before he could offer his thanks for the effort, a pair of greasy-looking halflings approached him at the nursing station, wearing nearly identical pinstripe suits and low-brim hats, which reminded him of the Ragazzi Rospo gangsters, his sometimes friends, sometimes enemies. One of the halflings casually flipped a coin repetitively, while the other surreptitiously chewed on a toothpick. As Senshi was pulled away by her sisters that offered condolences, the toothpick gnome leaned in and whispered to Kind.
Hey, you got a match against that guy next. Why don't you take a few hits and go down, huh? I hear your kingdom could use a little financial help, right?
Kind knew these types from a mile away. Gangsters out to make a quick buck with gambling scams. He had ridden Goldenrod of these guys in the past, and wasn't looking forward to being in their pocket ever again. Using Coin Flipper as an armrest, he leaned forward into Toothpick's face and brayed out a long and threatening no.
Oh, you think you're tough? Fine. Our guy'll deal with you, just like he dealt with the last guy.
Thumbing past Kind to an eriadric in traction with all 8 spidery limbs broken and tangled in a knot. The 2 halflings left, cackling loudly. Hi, my name is Matthew Lewis, and I do the voice of Kycell Bakshi along with all the additional voices in The Forgotten Minotaur King. I hope you enjoy the podcast and continue to listen into the future. If you want to support my content, please donate to my Patreon, Matthew Lewis Podcasts. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Matthew Lewis Podcasts, all one word. Follow me on Twitter at Matthew Lewis P. Or leave a positive maximum star review on your podcast app of choice. If you found this podcast, I assume you're familiar enough with the genre to know how important reviews are to the survival of a channel. And I hope you recommend this to your friends. Or if you didn't like it, you could recommend it to your enemies, and I'll teach them a lesson. Keep it sleazy, folks, and thank you.